A year and a half ago, I made this little camper trailer in my garage. And today, it's been a year and a half sitting out here in the desert sun. Let's take a look at it, see how it held up. And we'll also take a quick look at the inside. When I released the initial tour video for this particular camper, it didn't get a lot of attention. So we'll take a second look. I think this is something that you guys will like, and I think you'll be pretty surprised at how well it held up. So as far as the exterior building materials, it's made up of two primary things. It's cedar boards here. I source these from Cedar fence pickets. I just, like you would get it like Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. And then the roof surface is actually 1/4 inch plywood that's wrapped around, and as you guys will see in a moment, extends over all the way to the front. And then this is protected from the weather through a process called PMF, or poor man's fiberglass. So let's take a look at it, see how it held up, and then we'll roll in and we'll take a second look at the inside. It's a pretty cool camper. This is one I'm holding on to. It's kind of my plan B in case of emergency or if I need a little more room for camping. But let's take a look. Quick on the construction here. I don't know how you would classify this. I mean, obviously it's a camper trailer, but it's kind of, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like I like to call it like an XL teardrop. It's 62 inches in height inside. So unless you're really short, you really can't stand up in it, but it's still big enough that it gives a lot of space in there. And I think when you guys check out the inside, you'll be really impressed. So first and foremost, this cedar on out here has held up really well. I didn't wash it or anything. This is just what it looks like just sitting here. Just as a catch you guys up, if you don't recall, the finish on this is a product called PPG Prolux Log Cabin and Siding. Basically, it's like a professional grade finish that you'd put on log cabins and stuff like that, and it worked out really, really well for this cedar. Now this stuff is not a lifetime finish. It's depending on conditions, they typically recommend recoating it about every 5 to 7 years. This right here looks in great shape. I don't even really see any signs of degradation on it. But it's the nice thing about it is you basically just pressure wash the exterior surface when it is time to recoat it, and it just brushes on with a brush. So that works out really well. This thing had a little table out here, so you could just pull down if you were cooking and stuff like that. Let's go take a look at the poor man's fiberglass here. So it's bright, bright, bright. So bear with me. So this is the whole reason. This PMF is holding up perfectly well. Zero leaks, no delamination, zero problems. You guys might see a little bit of irregularities there. That was just from when I put it on in the first place. Now it is very, very bright, and I did that on purpose. The white is to reflect away the heat. That's what I'm usually trying to combat here out in the desert. Let's take a look at the roof. All right, so here's the roof. As you guys can see right where we're in the front, curves down there. Got my max vent fan there. That's working out well. Solar panel is working out well. No problems there. That's been working. These rigid panels are very, very reliable. And everything is looking good. One thing that I've really learned and really helps on these is if you can build something that's going to shed water really well, which this one does. The only place it's not flat, there is a small curve, but it's the flattest is right here in the center section. It's a little dirty, but no problems at all. So in short, at least for the year and a half that we've had this here, this cedar method on the outside and the PMF on the roof has worked out really well. The PMF, some maintenance, just like you might have to recoat the cedar with that product I was talking about. The PMF was just initially coated with, after the canvas with glue was wrapped around the roof, it was just coated with an exterior grade paint. And it's expected at some point in the future it may need to be retouched up. But as this stands right now, it's in perfect condition. All right, sorry, before we jump in, a couple more things here. This right here is the little AC box. This just holds the standard size 5,000 BTU air conditioner unit. And when you run it, I just have a little key thing here, and you open this up to vent it. And of course, it has vents on the side here for the air intake over the condenser there. And then kind of a little bit unconventional compared to what you guys think of when you hear a teardrop is this has a rear entry, so very much like a truck camper would. And then let's take a look at the inside. So I really like this inside, and this thing it's pretty remarkable. It's insulated. These walls here, these brown sections, so that piece of wood that you see there, that's actually part of the laminated cedar frame that the exterior cedar planking attaches to. And then the brown section in between, that is actually EPS, or expanded polystyrene foam board insulation, and I wrap it in a fabric. I love the looks of it. Gives it a real nice warm acoustic quality in here. It's not ringy or tingy, and it's also very lightweight. But the combination of that insulation along with what you guys see here on the roof surface really helps keep the temperature in check in here. Outside right now it's about 108 degrees, and I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's 80 degrees in here, but it's definitely not as warm in here as you would expect. This insulation really works well. Now how I insulated the arced roof section, so that would be the entire area that's covered in PMF, is it's actually Thinsulate, which is a flexible insulation that's used in the camper van world a lot and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty innovative. But what I did is I actually, it's flexible. It's kind of like a blanket, and you can glue it up on the wood surface. And then the white is actually just canvas. And I stretched it across it. I added this center section here is 1/4-inch plywood wrapped in that same fabric, and it's kind of wedged in there. So everything holds together. This was the first time I had seen this technique used, and obviously the first time I had tried it. I didn't know how it would really hold up in the long run, but as you guys can see, there's no sagging. It's worked perfectly, and from an insulation factor, I can tell you it's worked out really well. Sorry, I got ahead of myself a little bit here. So the layout is pretty simple. It's a rear entry. What you see up here is a couch. I'm sorry, I've got storing some big sleeping bags here. And then for the bed, this has a particular hinge where you just pull this forward. There we go. Snaps into place, and it comes down, and then it makes a bed. I believe that's a full size there. So you have both a couch and a bed, which I really like. Over on this side, which would be like the passenger side of the vehicle, we've got a cabinet down here, just a bunch of open storage. Lots of storage in here, in fact. And then we've got a pull-up table here. Now, the wood that you see down here is cedar, and then the dark colored wood included countertops. This is a black walnut. Very high quality materials. These windows here are acrylic windows, and they have this built-in trim kit. And I keep these cracked pretty much all the time to keep it vented in here, but these will extend out and they'll lock in place like this. And it even has a bug screen that comes up. I just got these on Amazon. I just searched acrylic window. They're still for sale. I think they're a different frame color now. And I'll just keep that cracked right there just to let some airflow in there. But these windows have worked out really well. I've had zero problems with them. So like I said, on the passenger side, you circle around. Right here, let's step in here, I'll show you guys, is some more storage. So a lot of storage up here. We've got the light switch here for the lights in there, and the other switch is for an external light. And then this right here is the inside portion, or the operating portion of that 5,000 BTU AC unit. That wooden panel is just tacked in place, I guess you could say, with some 23 gauge brad nails. So if I ever need to replace that AC unit, I can pretty easily pull it out. And when I turn it on, all I have to do is just open up and vent the rear. And that's meant to run fully off grid in this camper. And I'll talk about that in a minute when I get into the electrical system. Got the door here. Got a little porthole on there just for fun. The insulation, those brown parts are the insulation inserts in the door. So the door is fully insulated. And I just use a residential combo lock set. So it'd be like something you'd put on a front door at your house or something like that. Over here, we've got a microwave. This is a 12-volt DC compressor fridge. It just opens up like this. And up there is more storage. And down here, that little brown panel, that pulls off. And there's a diesel heater down there. And then the heated exit for the diesel heater is right there. Now, I used a lot of these pull-off panels, as you guys could see. I like them. I mean, they're simple. It's basically just a 1/4-inch piece of plywood covered in duck fabric, which is the same brown fabric that you guys see covering the insulation. It's very simple, as you guys see, and might seem a little hokey or something, but I got to be honest with you, it works out really nice, and I think it gives it a nice contemporary look. And then I just use a flexible shock cord here to hold them on. I like these kinds of doors because in small spaces like this, at least to me personally, a door that swings causes, you know, some problems. If I want to open up this cabinet down here, which I have a little cassette toilet in, you know, I just lift up that bungee cord, or that shock cord is what its technical term is, pull that panel out. So down here, this one is the same way. The diesel heater is down in there. And if I need to service it or do an inspection or something, I just pulled off it that way. And coming over here to what would be the driver's side, immediately adjacent to the couch / bed here, is the kitchen area. Very simple setup. A sink right there that drains into, actually this one, I almost forgot what I had done here. I had actually set this up to where this will actually drain right out the bottom of the camper. But you could, if you wanted to be a little bit more concealed, or you had concerns about doing that, there is room in there to put a jug, something similar to this, that you could drain directly into. And then this jug is the fresh water supply for the sink. And that simply operates off of one of these little pumps that you get on Amazon. These are intended to mount on like a 5-gallon water bottle, but then the company had realized that these people are using these for like little DIY faucet systems here in campers, so they actually made this little base for it, which is actually nice. But it's a pump and a battery all in one. They last a really long time. You're just USB-C rechargeable. And basically that has a little tube right down there that runs right into the water container and pumps it right in the sink. Very, very simple plumbing system. That's by design, and works out really, really well for this application. And then above here, on both sides here, is open storage on the top. Again, you know, this is, even though this is pretty roomy for what it is, it's still a small space. My personal preference is I like open storage because you just don't have to you don't have to hassle with opening up a door and all this kind of stuff. And this has a lip. You know, it's not just completely flat. There's a lip in there. And just in my own experience, generally speaking, most stuff stays put. You know, you might have to, you know, play around with something. But anyways, open storage up here. And then, as you guys probably saw on the other side, there is another porthole window. And above here, we have a max air fan and overhead lighting. It's a really nice little trick here. You pop open both of these portholes on either side of this, and you could be in bed or sitting on the couch, have that max air fan going, and it produces a really nice flow of air that goes right over you as you, you know, you're just hanging out or sleeping or whatever you're doing there. And then I just use, this is just some old carpet I had from some other build, and I use that for the carpeting in here. You know, it's funny, at least to me, carpeting just adds such a warmth to a space. I mean, when I sit in here and look around, you know, I don't really feel like I'm in a camper in any ways. I just feel like a little cabin or something. I don't know. Maybe the window would give it up that it's a little uh, a little camper or something. But just very cozy, very homey in here, and it's just a really pleasant place to be. And because of how this layout is, this is me sitting on the couch here, dangling my feet. Um, you know, you got this big open space right here, so it's just really pleasant just to kind of hang out in here. Um, oh, power. Let's talk about the power system, and I'll talk also about extra water. So down below here is where we keep the power system and a bunch of water. Okay, so this trailer, when fully loaded, all appliances, batteries, water, and everything, comes out to 1,400 pounds. I did weigh it on a scale. And the one thing that's significant about that is that's pretty light, but that also includes 14, 28, 33 gallons of fresh water. So when I built this, I guess it's probably because the AC in the fridge sits in the back. I didn't have quite enough tongue weight, so it was a little bit bouncier than I liked. So I actually had to kind of ballast it a little bit and use these 7-gallon, there's 4 of them tucked back in there, Reliance water containers to add a little bit of weight over the front of the tongue. And the electrical system over here also sits up there. The batteries sit way up there. But got two, basically I have 300 amp hours at 12 volts of batteries sitting back there. And I've actually got 2 solar charge controllers, and that's significant. One of them, of course, is for the panel I showed you guys on the roof, but the other one is for an external port that exits over here on the passenger side. Now, what that allows me to do is to take a portable solar panel and actually plug it into this power bank setup I built here. And because there's dual solar charge controllers, I can simultaneously charge from both the solar on the roof, which is 200 watts, and I have a couple 400-watt portable panels. So I could get, in theory, get, you know, 600 watts of solar pumping in here, you know, assuming I'm directing and utilizing the angle of the sun appropriately. But the significance of that is this AC right here. When this thing is running full tilt, and it actually works really, really well for this space in here, it's going to pull between about 450 and 550 watts. I wouldn't quite say that you could run indefinitely AC on solar, but with the battery capacity I have, the charging capacity I have, the level of insulation that's in this camper, you could probably get pretty close, you know, if you maybe kept it up around like 80, 82. But that's a pretty substantial and significant capability, you know, and that's, you know, essentially free energy. That's not running generators. That's not doing anything like that. Um, but yeah, guys, so this is my camper. It's holding up very good. PMF and the cedar planks with that professional finish does real well. And this was all just built in my garage. You know, it did take me, I think I spent about 4 months on this one. I'd have to look back, maybe 5 months. I probably think it was 4 months. But I think this is really totally doable. I don't remember if I discussed it earlier in the video, but essentially this is kind of built like a truck camper, and it just slides onto a utility trailer, you know, 5x8 utility trailer. I think it's the smallest they make, something you'd get at, you know, a big box store, you know, like Tractor Supply or Home Depot, something like that. So, yeah, pretty, you know, nothing too elaborate in terms of welding or having special equipment, just really like a big woodworking project. So, all right, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.